suddenly found myself in a position that I just did not want to be in. I think when you want to move more into the speaking and the presenting space, like it definitely takes a gear change. I think for me, the great thing about YouTube, and again, not to sound like a broken record, but you guys, welcome to the Autumn Lock In Diaries. I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I'm going to be speaking on a panel today, a L'Oreal and YouTube panel, and if you guys know me, both of those brands are heavy on my vision board, so to be able to do a double whammy and speak on a panel, I'm actually speechless. If you guys knew the year that I had and how my year started out, fast forward to like, you know, towards the end of the year, it's nuts. Anyway, we've got a couple of things to do before then. I need to finish getting ready. I need to upload my Primark Come Shop With Me. I'm also going to a Kerastase event first, and I'm also going to the LK Bennett store first because LK Bennett, sorry, my stomach's rumbling by the way. But anyway, LK Bennett are dressing me for an event that I have next week. So yeah, it's gonna be a packed day, but you guys are coming along with me. So finish getting ready. I'm just gonna do my hair. I always leave my lips off. I'll do that on the way. We gotta go.
So happy to already be back and to speak to you again, and to also introduce our incredible panelists today. I am super thrilled. We have such a diverse kind of like range of conversation and topics that we'll cover, but I think first it would be great to hear about you guys first, and I guess who you are, what your content is about, what your channel is about. Give it to us.
Cool. Hello everybody, how are we doing?
Good.
Oh, good. Any hairdressers in the room? Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. So, yeah, I mean, I started my YouTube channel in lockdown. Our salon's closed down. I'm a hairdresser by trade, and I still work behind the chair. And when lockdown hit, I just needed another income. I needed something to develop and then grow, and if it ever happened again, to maintain revenue. So that's when I started Paul Watts Hair on YouTube, like 5 years ago. So
nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. What about you, Raquel?
So my journey is a little bit of a random one because I know a lot of people always speak about like old school YouTubers, and I actually didn't start watching YouTube until 2 weeks before I started my own YouTube channel. So I sort of stumbled upon YouTube, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, I can put this video up online instead of having to FaceTime my mom and make her watch my try-on hauls. I can just put it online. So I started in 2017 alongside a full-time job and just never looked back.
Amazing. Adama?
Yeah, so I started YouTube about 6 years ago, just as I was coming out of university. I guess like a lot of people, I was kind of obsessed with the platform and watching it, but I had a desire to be on the other side. And so I just kind of started sharing my journey. If I learned something from a book, if I learned something from uni or just a life experience, I had a desire to share that, and the platform gave me that space for long form content. And over time, it kind of evolved into what's now a channel for what I say is a modern Renaissance woman, so a woman who has multiple passions and interests, but is also ambitious with those, and is looking for ways that they can find synergy and progress in them. I myself am an engineer and a content creator. I started painting as well, and I just don't see why we should put these limits on ourselves. But with my engineering background, I'm able to bring a bit more structure and system thinking to the personal development space. So I guess that's my journey so far.
Amazing. I feel like we should tell them the first time we met. So Adam and I actually met at the Brit Awards, which is something I love to say. It was amazing. We were sitting next to each other, and then I couldn't wait to see her again. But yeah,
It's been great.
Yeah.
They arrived by boat, guys.
Yeah, I know. Cool. So, little icebreaker before we get into it. Obviously, you know, YouTube has been celebrating its 20-year anniversary this year. What's your favorite video on YouTube?
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry. You want me to start?
Please.
Because I already know the answer to mine. Mine is the VMA performance of Lady Gaga in 2007. Yes. Please check it out. It has about 49 million views. I'm responsible for 48. It's really great. It was re-released as Ultra HD, like I think 2 years ago or something like that. Yeah, watch it. Watch it. What about you guys?
I
I
mean,
actually have one now.
oh, go for it.
I think, so I could be incorrect, but I believe that the first woman of colour to have a music video on YouTube was Go Pele,
Okay.
and she has a song called Closer, so that would be my favourite video.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favourite song too.
Yeah.
One of.
Oh yeah, I've got one. It was that one where it's like, ow, Charlie bit me.
We always put it in slides as well.
Yeah, that's a classic. I can't really think of one particular video. I guess one creator that stands out for me that was maybe Ali Abdaal. And I just like his whole journey in general and his videos, the way he carries himself and things like that. I mean, I think I was inspired so much by him to bring a lot of that into like the personal development space for women. So maybe not a video, but as a creator, I think he's somebody that these videos I look up to.
Cool. So it's a great answer. And so I guess, you know, we talked earlier about, you know, you being memorable as a creator, but then also having creators being memorable to you. So like you just mentioned one that is very memorable to you, and we mentioned those videos as well. What's your approach when you're creating content on YouTube? I know you're all incredibly authentic and you're all extremely passionate. And so it's very much the themes that we saw in the presentation just now. Like I can see that across all of your different journeys, even if they're different. What's your approach to it? Like when you create your programming, are you spontaneous or do you plan it? Maybe Paul, you can start.
Yeah, I'm literally no planning. So I'll be working in the salon. This is how it all kicked off for me anyway. I'll be working in the salon. I remember my video that just hit 5 million, and I do long form as well, by the way. We were all leaving the salon and all the team were going, and I just remembered I needed to film a video. So I was like, see you later team. I went down to my basement in the salon where my studio was, and I went on Google and I typed in hair trends, and then the wolf cut come up. And then I watched a couple and it was just like a unicorn haircut. So I thought, as a hairdresser, we needed more layering. Yeah. So it was a case of right, we'll do 2, because that'll make more layers. And then that's how I discovered my niche. It was a case of reverse engineering haircuts. Like on the salon floor, I'll be doing technical all day, every day. And then when it comes to my YouTube channel, I love to make it so simple that babies could understand it. So there's a real thing with apprentices at the minute in the industry, and they're not understanding trends to its core, and being able to reverse engineer it and then go professional salon floor. That's how I developed, and it was basically a lot of my videos now. It is a case of thinking as I'm filming.
Yeah, nice. What about you?
That's rogue. Because I definitely plan my content out. But as I've mentioned to you guys, I started my content creator journey whilst working a full-time job. So I didn't really have the time to I had to be a bit more diligent with the planning. So now the great thing about YouTube is obviously there's multiple formats and mediums for you to upload, which is great. And some of them require less prior planning than others. If you're mainly a long form content creator, I would advise you to maybe unless you have the time and like the creativity to just create on whim and wing it, which is also depending on your skill set, right? Your skill set is your hands, so you're ready to go. Whereas if I'm doing a fashion video or a beauty video, I need these products in place. Someone mentioned earlier that a package came, it didn't come, they need tracking. That is me. I am sitting tracking 1 million parcels every day. So for me, I need to give it a little bit more prior planning. But YouTube is a great platform for that, because if I want to be spontaneous, I'll do a short. So yeah, mixture of planning and winging it, maybe ish.
What about you?
I definitely think there's a little bit more planning for me, so maybe somewhere in between. So I don't have like scheduled content for maybe the next several months, but I do like to understand what I'm going to be talking about and have like a rough like bullet points, just so that I stay on track. And I think that helps when you're thinking also about thumbnails and titles, which I think as I progressed through my YouTube journey, I understood how important those are, because I really learned that you can make the best video ever with long form, but if nobody clicks on it, nobody ever knows what's in there. And that's why I think the prior planning can be really helpful in your YouTube journey. Just having an idea about this is what's going to be in it, but what would the packaging for this look like in order to like maximize the chances that somebody's going to click and get through to it. So yeah, I say in between for me, but when I am more consistent, I mean, I know we hear it all the time, but when I'm more consistent, that is when I see the better, increase in subscribers or retention and things like that. So yeah, but it's seasonal.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna stay on this last point that you made. So you are definitely like the thumbnail and title queen. That's for sure. If you guys check out her channel, like straight away, every video is calling you. Like it's saying like you wanna watch this, then you wanna watch that, etc. How did you kind of like master that art, and what's your pro tips for thumbnails and titles? Because it's so important.
It really is, and it's not easy at all to understand what's going on. But I say partly it's a little bit of researching what's out there already and what's working. Maybe not even just in your category or like whatever niche you're in, if you want to categorize yourself like that, but other ones, and how you can play with the title maybe from another video that's done well in one niche, but like take your spin on it, because there's probably something in the title that's more to do with human psychology as opposed to the niche. That's what a lot of this is. It's about like how are you either getting somebody to feel a particular type of way or be curious enough to click on the video. So the human psychology means that you can find so much inspiration across different niches, I would say. Thumbnails, they take a little bit more work, I think, as well, because sometimes you think, oh, this is great, and then you're like, actually, no one wants to click on it. But I think, again, it's a lot of playing with different types and formats, now with A/B testing as well, which has made it so much easier for creators to try out different formats or try out different thumbnails and titles and see what is working and have the data behind it to support it. So definitely using those features, I think now. When I started, that wasn't there, but it's something that I use a lot now to try and get that data.
Amazing. And then working backwards, Raquel, you mentioned multi-format as well. So when you're spontaneous, you do shorts, but then you plan your longs. Do you have a strategy that links everything together and creates an ecosystem around your personal brand?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, YouTube kind of has these really great parameters to support creators, right? They have these training wheels. So if you do a short, for instance, you can link it to a long form video, which I think is great. You can link shorts to other shorts. And yeah, like you said, it's a really great framework for a great ecosystem whereby you can sort of like feed one video into another, into another, into another. So for instance, I have a Primark come shop with me going live today. I can put a card in it which will link to the short and vice versa. So yeah, I definitely use all of the different platforms or different mediums within the platform to kind of create a loop, as you like.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that's really good to know. And then again, working sort of backwards. Paul, you've been a content creator for now 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
So since COVID. It sounds like, so I don't know if you guys know, but apparently there's a quote that says that your creativity is most unleashed when you're at the most sort of like peaceful state.
Okay.
Right? And you'll see where I'm getting to.
Okay.
So for example, when you're sleeping and you dream about something, it's because you're relaxed and then that creativity gets elevated. When you're showering, you're relaxed. When you go for a walk, you're relaxed. When you talk to your best friend, you're relaxed. And so all these things are very important for like your mental health in general, but also to kind of like nurture your creativity. And as the opposite, when you're very stressed and when you're working and like 9 to 5, etc., your creativity is like just not like breathing, you know.
Yeah.
Lockdown is a time where a lot of people became content creators.
Yeah.
And so it kind of comes from this theory, right? Because of course, like the world was, going bad, but at the same time, we had kind of like time to breathe, and everybody was just at home and left with themselves, you know. So it sounds like your creativity was unleashed from there. What to somebody that would start today? What advice would you give them, basically?
Just if you're unprepared, just start. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Like, you've got a phone, you can go and find a window, you can find a quiet room, quiet space, just start filming. Plan it if you want to plan it. I'm not saying I don't plan. I'm like the nerd with data. Yeah. Like, I've got a studio in my house now. I've got teleprompters, so I've got text coming at me all the time. Like, I've got multiple cameras all around the room, so like there is a lot of planning that goes into it, but a lot of my ideas are very spontaneous, and I think it comes from working on the salon floor still. Like, I work 7 days a week as a hairdresser. I work internationally Sunday to Tuesday. I fly back, work in the salon Wednesday to Saturday. I'll then fly again on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday I'll be working abroad. Wednesday to Saturday I'll be back in the salon, and so on. And then people always say to me, well, how do you get time to do content? And I do content when I finish work. Like, that's it, basically.
Or at work sometimes.
Or at work.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't. And the reason for, I don't want to break the relationship with my clients. A lot of people often say, do it on a real person. Why do you always do it on a mannequin head? And I can do whatever I want with mannequin heads for however long I want to do it. But with a client, I don't want them to not to talk to me like as openly, and I want the relationship to continue. And I feel that if I said to a client, like, "Oh, can I film today?" They go just like this, and I don't want that. I want it to be like the relationship that I've built up over, like, what is it now, like nearly 20 years in the industry, and enjoy it day to day in the salon. And then when I go home and start to film my content, that's where I mean, nobody likes to hear that answer, to be honest. That it's like 7 days, and that is it cliche where it's like you work your 9 to 5 to build your like 6 to 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily do that. I just enjoy working, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, my advice, I started on my phone. I started with a window, and that was it, to be honest.
Yeah. It sounds like your passion has fueled it, you know?
Totally. Like, this is 100% a passion project.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I've got a job, which is crazy because I work ridiculous hours, and I don't feel like I work.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk, I guess, brand partnerships. So we'll start with you, Flo. Over your career, have you had any brand partnerships so far?
Yeah.
How did you approach them? Did you contact the brand? Did they contact you?
It's quite hard because I feel as a hairdresser, YouTube industry, hair industry aren't really adoptive of YouTube. Mm-hmm. They always come to me and I'm like pushing on nearly 250,000 subscribers, and they're like, "How many have you got on Instagram?" Or how many have you got on TikTok? I'm like, "I'm not a TikToker, and I don't do Instagram," sort of thing. My brand is on there, but it's not where I invest my time. My time is on YouTube. Yeah. So the hair industry is quite funny, which is why I'm quite interested to pick up today, and also to see trends, what makeup's doing and beauty, see if I can cross it over slightly. But my brand partnerships have been like hair colour demonstrations, where it's like you're doing an actual demonstration of value or an educational piece. That sort of thing. Yeah. Scissors, I work with scissor companies, I work with brush companies, but I'm sort of like in a contract, which is what I do abroad with a brand, which is quite hard for me to then come away to work with any other brand in the industry, which is what I'm actually trying to explore. Yeah.
And so, do you contact the brands, or do they come to you?
Yeah, they normally come to me. To be honest, imposter syndrome is mega. I don't feel like I'm there yet to be approaching brands. Yeah. I'm just like, "Oh, if you want to use me, so use me."
I would recommend really doing it, actually. Yeah. I'd recommend going to brands, to everyone here as well. It takes a cold email. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't take anything from you, and don't have imposter syndrome.
No.
I know it's sounds easier.
It's easier if they come to you.
Yeah, of course. But believe in yourself, you know,
Yeah.
like, because that's how everybody does it.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Raquel, I want to hear from you. Have you done any brand deals, brand partnerships?
Yeah, so I have, and to piggyback off of what you were saying, sometimes I do outreach, and sometimes I'm fortunate enough to have inbound.
Amazing.
I think for me the great thing about YouTube, and again, not to sound like a broken record, but when that brand does approach you now, if you're a YouTube content creator and you can create long form and short form content, you have a little bit more of a bargaining tool and a bit more of a bargaining chip, because you can upskill everything, right? They might come to you for something small when you might be like, well, hey, I can put it in a long form video, I can put it in a short form video, I can put it as a community post, and I think the great thing about YouTube is that you have this audience who are loyal to you, who know when you upload, and it gives you the opportunity to speak to brands and say, hey, like, let's do a 2 or a 3 month. I can compare the clicks that I get via YouTube to the clicks that I'll get on other platforms, and the content on YouTube is so much more data rich. I think obviously we all sat through the prior session and we got, you know, those amazing stats, and YouTube is great at looking at the analytics and doing all of that hard legwork for you. So really, as a creator, it's longer to edit, yes, but I think the ROI, or the return on investment, is much greater on YouTube. And I think going into 2026, being privy to some of the things that you guys are going to be rolling out, is definitely going to keep going on an upward trajectory. So yeah, inbound and outbound, it depends. I'm like an intuitive and energetic person, so it depends how I'm feeling. For the rest of the year, I won't really be doing much outbound, apart from for L'Oreal. I'll be a bulldog. But yeah, a little bit of a mixture of the two, really.
Amazing. And then Adama, you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So most of the brand deals that I've done have been inbound, so they kind of found me online. One thing I kind of struggle with, which a lot of creators do, is pricing yourself. I think that can be really challenging to do. And I think it's a bit of an iterative process. So sometimes you start with a number, and then the brand comes back and they're like, yeah, you're like, I probably should have upped that a little bit. You know, it's a bit too quick. So the next time you kind of maybe go up a little bit. But one thing that really helped me as well was being around other creators who were open about, like, in those circles, what they were making. And I was like, wait a second, you had how much?
Wait a minute.
Like, and I think that kind of emboldened me to kind of say my price and like keep putting it up and putting it up. I do think though it helps that because I've been an engineer alongside my content creation, I can walk away from the table, which gives you a lot of power, I think. Like, one time I remember I put what I thought was maybe an outrageous 5-figure thing there, and I was like, well, I didn't have it anyway, and if I don't get it, it's not really a big loss. And then they came back with something that wasn't quite that, but pretty close, and I think that was like a mind-blowing moment for me. And I don't think it's not at all about exploiting the brand or the brand exploiting the creator at all. What I think is if you understand your position and the value that you bring as a creator, and it's not just a factor of the numbers at all. Like, that's something I also realized. It is about who your audience is, how much they trust you, and how much weight your voice carries, because that's, to a brand, can be incredibly powerful. And I think that's why smaller creators are also seeing quite a rise in brand deals and brand partnerships, because there's this understanding that in the sea of content and big creators, actually might be you as a smaller creator who could actually make that connection on a much better, greater level, I'd say. So yeah.
100,000%. Like, plus one to everything that you said, you know.
Something there about knowing your worth.
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That's also, like, I think the biggest takeaway from what you said. Like, I think a lot of creators sometimes feel like the brand is the brand and the creator is the creator.
Yeah, and you forget that
the creator is the creator, you know?
Yeah.
People are there for you.
Yeah.
So.
And it's, you get, like, digital real estate space, which is the way that I call it, and your audiences trust you, like we saw, like the numbers are there, you know. A follow-up question on this though, I hear a lot from creators that there's something they wish somebody told them before they started. Okay, so before they started brand deals or before they started their content creation, I'd love to ask you guys this question. Particularly with brand deals, I think, like, for example, one thing I heard is the dynamics of, like, understanding the brief and talking about the brief of the brand, etc. Are there any pro tips something you would tell yourself 5 years ago?
Yeah, like with brand deals, I think authenticity over aesthetics beats it every time. And to be honest, from trying to create cinematic and really that perfect picture, like if you're authentic, people are going to buy into it. I think that's one of the biggest things for me when it comes to any brand deal or any content I put out. It's just having that personality with it.
I would say brand deal wise, read over your contract, literally look for the word perpetuity. If you ever see it, cross it out. No, for real though, because so yeah, perpetuity. And then I think also just in terms of like collaborating in general, like have your vision board, have the brands that are on your vision board. Everything within creator, work is quite nuanced, so it can be difficult to be like a one hard fast rule type thing. So yeah, if you're a creator and you have your dream brands that you want to work with, perhaps in order to get on their radar, maybe you might leave some money on the table, maybe you might walk away, and then maybe in 3 months' time, that brand will come back to you at a more favourable rate because your worth and you're holding true to your worth. So yeah, perpetuity. Yes. Control F, delete, and then yeah, everything's nuanced within the creator economy.
I think with brand partnerships, I say maybe don't box yourself in so much with the type of brands that you think you can work with. I think you can get quite creative with these types of collaborations. And actually, if brands are trying to reach new audiences and you're worried that maybe I don't do beauty exclusively or I don't do finance exclusively, but they don't want to keep talking to people who are just watching finance videos. They probably have already tapped into those anyway. So if they're trying to expand, then maybe that's an area that you could kind of fill that gap or fill that void, right? Because maybe your audience could be interested in this sort of stuff. In fact, they probably are, but actually they want to hear it maybe from you. You're the trusted source in that sense. And so I think expanding the type of brands or the industries that you think you can work with can be really beneficial in terms of expanding.
Cool. I don't know if we have time. Question. One question. Oh my god, who's the lucky winner? Okay, no wait, you asked a question earlier, right? Sorry. Okay, yay. Wait, I'll bring you a mic.
Hello, hi. Thank you for having me firstly. So my content is based around lifestyle as a nurse. I'm a nurse working in NHS. How should I incorporate a lot of brands on my daily lifestyle content to work with them in future? So that's the question I wanted to ask.
I would say just as you go about your day and you have a genuine love for these particular products, just share them organically. I don't know, this is such a random analogy, but I don't know if there are any of the Summer I Turn Pretty fans in the room. That is like my favourite show. But anyway, in season 1, Conrad goes to Belly and she does him a bit dirty for this, but he goes, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And she's like looking at him a bit like, But it's the truth. If these are brands that you want to work with and you use them frequently, just organically share them. That's you staying ready. Like, you're already showing these brands, this is how you can fit into my day-to-day life. And you've got a very important job, and this is how your brand can fit into, my life and my content in a very organic way. I hope that answered the question. Okay.
I think I'd also just add as well, the comments section can be quite an interesting but underrated part of the content space. Like, what are your audience asking about, right? Like, that's a sign that there's interest there, and if there's enough of that, then if you do want to pitch yourself to brands potentially, it's like, look at what my audience asks about, look what they engage in, look what they're interacting with. And that level of engagement where someone's gone to the level of commenting is so powerful that I think you can leverage that again as data to go forward to a brand unless you want to make those new partnerships.
And then just for like everybody, so I've got a story. My parents got a YouTube channel, and they were doing it before me. And they do like little visits to towns and like.
That's all subscribe, guys.
That is out. Go subscribe. And my dad was watching other channels, and there was like these guys riding around on e-bikes, and he was getting so frustrated that he didn't get offered one. And then I just said to him, just go and buy it. Like, go and buy an e-bike, do a really good review on it, and then a brand might see it and then say, oh, do you want to review ours? And I think counting now, he's probably had about 30 e-bikes. he gets about 6 emails a week. He gets scooters, they get air fryers, they get absolutely everything. So if you're thinking of, like, if you've got a brand or a area you want to go to, like, create your life around it and buy them. Make it so good that brand can't, like, ignore you, and then they'll find you.
Yeah, that's such great advice. Cool, I think we have to wrap up. But guys, a massive thank you.
Thank you.
Quit my job with nothing lined up, but you know the rest, guys. And today I landed my dream pinch me moment speaking on a panel at YouTube and L'Oreal. It was a super packed day, so let's get into it. First things first, of course, I started off my day with Pilates, and then, you know, I'm a public transport girly, so it's onto the tube and onto the first stop of the day. The Kerastase team did a phenomenal job of transforming this space. It was the House of Noel. They had some amazing pastries, some hot chocolate. I was a little bit nervous because I knew I was speaking on the panel. And I was also wearing white, so I kind of just had to pause. I didn't get to indulge. The next stop was LK Bennett. I have an event next week that they're dressing me for, so I popped into the Bond Street store. It was truly a day of multitasking because my DJI decided to stop working. The toggle was completely broken, so I've had to send that off for repair. I did a very janky try on because I was wearing white. I didn't want to risk it. Then it was for the final stop of the day, which was Google HQ. The views from this office are insane. I had a quick bite to eat. Here is a quick OOTD. Now you guys see why I was so nervous to eat or spill anything on my outfit. And then it was finally time for the panel talk. Now let me tell you, both L'Oreal and YouTube are on my vision board. I've worked really hard this year to move more into the presenting and speaking space, so I was doing all of the necessary work. So when I got the call about this very last minute, I was super excited and I couldn't believe it. If you need a sign to keep pushing and keep believing in yourself, then this is it. Huge thank you to the L'Oreal and YouTube team for having me. I cannot wait to share more speaking engagements with you guys. Hello, it is actually the following week post panel talk, and I haven't actually had a chance to sit down with you guys. So the panel talk was on Friday. Today's Wednesday. I'm getting ready to go to a Five Farms event. I went to one around this time last year. Five Farms is a really great brand. So it's an Irish liqueur. It's basically sourced in Cork, and it's 5 farms that have come together to produce this Irish liqueur. And honestly, it's so lovely. I'm really happy and excited to be on their roster again this year to meet with the founder and to have an intimate dinner. I'm going to be taking you guys along with me. I would be bringing you on my DJI camera, but as you guys will have seen, that decided to break. They messaged me to about £80, £90 to repair. Guys, if you know the amount of money I've spent on tech in the last 2 weeks, you would be like, wow. I just called them. I said, I'm not paying it. I said, look, this is clearly a manufacturing fault. I look after my things, yeah. I pulled it out. 1 second it was working, because my sister and I used it the day before and it was absolutely fine. And I think I actually used it in the flat just very briefly just to make sure that there was battery. And then it just, anyway, so they're charging or attempting to charge £80 or something. I just told them to rethink that and come back to me, essentially. So yeah, I would be taking you guys on that, and it would be a little bit easier to grab the content. But since that's in the repair store, I'm going to bring you guys on this, which reminds me, I'm going to change this battery and bring another spare batteries. That's the one thing about this particular camera. The battery just does not last on it. Okay, you have been replaced. So yeah, I thought I'd check in with you guys. I have a call at 4. It's 3:10 now, so we have plenty of time. It's really, really cold outside, which is going to really impact what I'm wearing. I'm thinking about wearing like a trouser suit, maybe. This is the new Kerastase, well, new to me. This is the Alchemy. This is like the color correcting one, and I've never tried it, so I thought we could try it out together. Let's talk the panel talk, because that came in really, really last minute, and I was so incredibly grateful to have been like even considered for that panel talk. So like L'Oreal is high up there on my vision board and my list of dream brands, and of course YouTube is. Like, YouTube is my preferred platform as a creator and also as a consumer, and I always say that. It's the platform that I started out on. It's the platform that will always, like, you know, have my heart. So to be able to sit down on a panel which sort of merges the two like giants in my opinion was honestly nothing short of phenomenal. I'll be so honest. And it came really last minute, and you know, I felt happy up there. Like, I felt like it was a subject matter that I was, you know, passionate about, and, you know, I could share things. And I think the best part was like speaking to people afterwards. It was a bit difficult because I feel where my brain is like quite like scatty, right? I'm trying to like speak to everybody, and like as you're speaking, people come in and like join, and you know, and so I'm trying like my best to be a part of like multiple conversations, which I don't know how well that went, but to be honest, that's the best part, like afterwards, speaking to people who are also creators, right? And, you know, maybe they're not as familiar with YouTube as a platform because they're on other platforms, and they just want to know, you know, a little bit more about it. And I think that was like one of the highlights for me, for sure. First of all, I have to just very quickly say on this, I love this. Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector. This is great. As I said, shade Alchemy. And then you guys know me, I love Merit. Because it's so cold and I really don't feel like wearing a full face of foundation, I just put that on, like where you guys could see it, so like under the eyes, forehead, around the mouth. To be honest, there's probably a little bit of excess foundation on this foundation brush anyway. But that's what I'm going for, and to be honest, that's probably gonna be the base. I'm probably not going to add anything else, but yeah, to be in a position where I could speak on a panel at YouTube was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it's something that I had a really tricky start to the year, right? Because, and I don't know if I've really spoken about it too much, but yeah, it was a really tricky start to the year, and I like suddenly found myself in a position that I just did not want to be in, and so I had to make quite a quick and abrupt decision. And so based on like how I felt at that time, if you'd have said to me like towards the end of the year it will pick up in the form of like, you know, 2 of your dream brands you'll be able to speak on a panel, like I'm a hopeful person and I have faith, but I don't know if I would have believed you, because it felt so far away from where I was at that time. Like I was in a really like energy depleting situation, like yeah, it was not fun. I think I actually took a little bit of a break on YouTube at the time because it was just impossible for me to pick up a camera and speak and do, you know, any of the content that I love to do and, you know, share. So yeah, I think it was definitely a pinch me moment for that reason. Being honest, I think, or I fear, that I'm now on like a little bit of a come down post the panel talk, which I know is, you know, look, maybe slightly unhinged, but these are the Autumn Lock In Diaries, and this is a safe space and, you know, my platform where I feel like I can speak to you guys the most. The lighting is going a bit crazy because the sun is setting at 4:15. Oh no, sorry, 3:15. It's not quite setting, but it's on its way. So yeah, I feel like I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. I think one of the things that it caused me to do was to sort of sit down and have like a reverse engineer sort of situation as to like how I got there. And I thought about like all of the work and the planning and the positions I had to sort of endure in order to put myself in that position, right? Because I think it's all well and good being a creator, and I love being a creator, but I think when you want to move more into the speaking and the presenting space, like it definitely takes a gear change. Like it's not enough sometimes to be present on the platforms and to be speaking on the platforms. You physically have to like work really hard to kind of put your hat in the ring and to be seen as a presenter. So I feel like maybe it's not so much a come down, but maybe it's a little bit of like a realization of all of the hard work that I sort of did, and maybe just like perhaps a bit more of like an overwhelmed feeling. See, by the way, look at that. That's all you need. That's, if you, listen, I know I've said this a lot of times, if there's one makeup product that you can just buy, or that I'd recommend for you to buy, if you just want to buy one, you want to be a minimalist girl, you don't want to waste your money, you don't want 100 products, it's the Merit Minimalistic. This is in the shade Amber. I do also have the shade Deeper for the summer months, but they're long gone. So I'm Amber right through to June now, probably. This is just a phenomenal product. It really, really is. I am super grateful, and yeah, I think I'm also feeling the stress of being self-managed, right? I don't have management, and I think I've spoken about this in the past on my channel, but it's difficult to wear so many hats. And like, I don't know, for instance, post the panel talk, it would be great to be doing some outreach based on the panel talk and things like that, but I don't have the energy. I am depleted. Like, I actually had a day off today for the first time in months. I left my full-time job in April and we're in November, and this is probably the first day where I've had a day off. And I say a day off up until 4 because I've got a call at 4, but like, I fell asleep early yesterday and I fell asleep on the sofa again, like just now watching Vampire Diaries. Like, I'm very tired and very depleted. I think it's like that time of year, but all that to say, an incredible opportunity. By God's grace, there will be more opportunities like this for me next year, and hopefully this is just sort of like opening the first of, you know, many doors for me to walk through. And I wanted to say thank you to you guys, because I genuinely know that it wouldn't be possible without you. And I think we have such a lovely community on YouTube, and it's just so nice, and it never feels like weird energy or like bad vibes or like negative energy. It always feels really, really nice and exactly how I would want it to feel. Do you get what I mean? Like, people that know me in real life know I'm a real ass bitch, okay? Like, I don't play no games. I'm very straight, I'm very direct, I'm very to the point. I'd say I'm very discerning now, actually. I've had a couple of experiences in like the last few years that have really caused my discernment to just like skyrocket. I think this lighting is crazy. I might go over here, sorry you guys. So yeah, I wanted to say thank you to you guys, because you guys continuously make this a really beautiful space and a safe space, and I'm just excited for next year. I'm tired, I think. I'm definitely, you know, feeling that end of year sort of like, gonna keep pushing, but I'm grateful and I'm really excited for next year. I'm working on, interestingly actually, I'm working on a couple of projects for next year. Oh, also, let me know what you thought of the panel talk, because I recorded the whole thing, so I'm gonna put it in this vlog. So let me know what you guys thought. I was a little bit nervous and I'm like, girl, can you hear? Like, are you listening to the questions correctly? But you know, once you start going, it's like you can't stop. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought of the panel talk. But yes, I am working on a couple of projects for next year, which is great, because I think I had a couple of projects that I had thought of and I had sort of strategized and things like that. And that was the Glossier, by the way, solar paint in the shade Heat, which, to be honest, I don't know if you can actually get it anymore, which is really annoying. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. At first I thought, oh, I'll only use it in the summer, but I'm wearing it a lot in the winter as well. Merit Redux blush, that's the name of it. It's this really beautiful sort of like purpley shade. So yeah, I'm working on a couple of projects for next year. What the panel talk was really great for was basically sort of like, sorry, there's a hair on this, one sec. Aha. So post panel talk, I actually started to like think about like, you know, what does next year look like and things like that. And there's a couple of projects which I like kind of have packed and ready to go, but I just haven't executed. Like, I just haven't pressed go. And I think when I delve into that, I think it's more a case of the fact that it's because it's not a hell yes, so it's a hell no. So I've kind of left it there. But actually doing the panel talk and understanding and interpreting like how that made me feel as a creator and as a speaker and as a presenter, and also like monitoring the questions and the conversations that I was having with people after the panel talk, really made one of the projects that I've just got sitting there kind of change from a hell no to a hell yes now, which is great because I feel like it's already there, it's ready to go, and it's something that I'd kind of thought about and really ideated on, and you know, I now feel good about it. Like, I now feel like it's in alignment with my plans and where I want to go and where I want to head for next year. So I'm going to start working on that, which maybe that's another reason why I'm on a bit of a come down, because I know that I'm starting something new. And when you start something new, obviously it's daunting and you have to learn everything from scratch. And I kind of like bootstrap all this stuff. Like I don't have a team, I don't have like editors, don't have management and things like that. So yeah, that always makes things a little bit more difficult when you're pretty much a one-man band. That's a great thing. And then also in terms of like YouTube, today's Wednesday, I'm going into the studio on Friday. I'm gonna be shooting some like new style content, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. I think I've spoken about this before. I love beauty content and I love fashion content. I'm definitely somebody that is a big yapper and I always have a lot to say. So I'm working on a series which I think is going to be a really helpful series for people. I'm going to start dropping episode 1, I think, of that series in December, so like next week basically, or shortly after this video, because I think this video is going up the first week of December, and then this new series will be going up the second week of December. So yeah, I'm really excited to share this new series. Of course, there will still be vlogs and there will still be fashion content on the channel. In an ideal world, I'd be able to upload multiple long form videos a week. For the moment, it's just 1 a week, but I would love to just increase that. So we'll see how I get on. But yeah, that's about it for my little chinwag. I wanted to like sit down and debrief because I realised that I didn't really get a chance to speak too much post-panel, which is a shame. So yeah, I thought I'd just catch up while I was doing my makeup. This is my Kerastase mascara, but to be honest, I think do I want to maybe do an eyeshadow, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and do mascara. Let's check in. I will see you guys when we get to the Five Farms dinner, because I'm going to jump on the call and get a little outfit together, and then yeah, I'll see you guys at the Broadcaster, which is White City. I don't know if you guys have ever been to like the Lighterman pub, but I think it is the same brand and their food is really nice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll see you guys at the Five Farms event. That was such a long yap.
These farms that I just went to, they became the designation for producing this liquid that I had in my head. And the working title for us doing the product was Five Farms, and that became the name. So the name came not out of my head, I had a different name. The name came directly from the farms into my head. And that's what I say, when we went with the grain in this project, everything just arrived. It arrived to me, and I said, that sounds like, why wouldn't it be called Five Farms? Let's go with that. And that happened on a 5-hour journey.